Confidence sucks because your wording sucks. How do I know that? Because over 75% of people engage in negative self talk. It's hard to be confident when you're constantly telling yourself you suck, when you're constantly telling yourself, I'm bad at this, I'm always unlucky. It's hard to be self confident when that's what's going on in your brain and what you're saying out loud. Now, why do we do this? Well, there's so many reasons, but I'll just go over three. Uh, Three is because number one is because of social conditioning, where we have this thing where like, oh, we need to be humble, or it's even funny to like kind of make fun of yourself a little bit. You see it on TV, you see it on comedy, and sure, it could be fun every once in a while, but when you keep doing it over and over and over again, it can get to you, right? Number two is the fear of judgment. Kind of like if you ever seen Pitch Perfect, where the girl who calls herself Fat Amy, calls herself Fat Amy, so none of the bitches call her fat behind her back. That's basically being fear of being judged, right? Same thing. And the third one is unrealistic comparisons, basically social pressures, like being on social media and feeling like everybody has a better life than them or that everybody's more beautiful than them. And those are just a couple examples. There's so many different examples. And I'm going to go over just kind of different type of examples and what you can do to reframe your wording, and then towards the end go over four different points on how you can really nail this in the head and work in your wording, because your word is so important. If you're able to master it, you're going to be able to master your confidence. Believe me, I used to be so self deprecating all the time. I thought it was funny. I thought if I made fun of myself that I could entertain, and it's just this is not the way you want to go. So common examples I mentioned before is like, I'm so bad at this. I'm always unlucky, or I can't. Ooh, I can't like just like I. It's difficult for me to even say that because it hurts my soul just saying I can't. Right. And what happens is basically your brain believes what you tell it, kind of like a self fulfilling prophecy, or like an incantation, kind of like a like an incantation, like a witch would be incanting into their bowl, you know. And or you can kind of call it, for all the science nerds like me, neuroplasticity. Basically, what you tell your brain believes. Right. And here's the four different solutions for having this negative self-talk, or basically having your wording that sucks. Number one is to catch yourself, to be like, to catch yourself in this limiting language, especially like the number one, saying I can't. Do not say that. Like, just don't say it, because there's so many things you can do, right? And there's always progress that you can make on whatever it may be, right? So you can soften the blow of things like I can't, and you can put it into like, how can I? Or I can. Maybe you can't do everything, right? But you can say, I can do this, or how can I help you do this? Right? Instead of limiting yourself and saying I can't, it's like a brick, just like you're trying to go somewhere, you just hit a brick wall when you say I can't. But when you say I can do this, or how can I do this, it's a completely different ballgame. And for people who constantly say they can't, they probably don't do a lot of cool shit because they're constantly saying I can't. People will say I can, or people will say I will, or people will say yes, let's do it. They have a more fun life and a more fulfilling life. So number one is to be able to catch yourself. So when you hear those negative, like limiting words, catch yourself and be like, hey, is this really like moving me forward in this progress towards my confidence and living my best life? Yes or no? Number two is reframing those statements, right? Going from like, I'm terrible at this, to I used to struggle with this, but now I'm getting better. So that does two things, right? You're putting that thing in the past, like you recognizing that something you used to struggle with, you struggle with, right? But instead of saying I currently struggle with it, say I used to struggle with that in the past, but now I'm getting better. So you're leaving that struggle in the past and you're moving forward. That is a huge game changer. If you're able to say something that might be negative, might be struggling with something, put it in the past. That is such a game changer. And then on top of that, put where can you move forward from this? Right. So the number two is to reframe your statements. This can get a little tricky if you're just starting out, but will get better and better and better at it. And number three, incorporate affirmations every day. Now, I'm such a supporter of affirmations because if you look at yourself in the mirror every day and you're like, oh man, I'm fat, oh, I'm kind of ugly, got a big nose, damn, I'm kind of broke, like you're gonna think that all day, right? But if you're able to start your day off with affirmations and be like, I am confident, I am sexy, I am adaptable, I am magnetic, I am rich, and you constantly keep looking at yourself in the mirror in the morning every day and you say those things, you're going to start to, first of all, be able to believe it. Second of all, like when it comes up in conversation, you're just going to be like bam, like be able to nail it because you've already told yourself two or three times already today. So it's such a huge tool in order to build your confidence. The thing is, it's not like only certain people should be confident. Only people who are rich, only people who are beautiful, only people who are successful should be confident. No, everybody's unique and beautiful in their own way, and they should be confident in themselves, period. Right? And these are just the tools in order to get you there. So, number three is definitely incorporate affirmations daily. And if you're interested in trying to figure out how to do your affirmations, I highly recommend writing them on your mirror that you see every day when you're brushing your teeth. Just look at them, read them, go in a circle. It's great. All right. So, number four is to eliminate absolute words. Like, like I said before, like I always mess up, or I never get things right, or every man is toxic, right? It's like when you think about those statements, like could you back that up? Could you actually say what I just said is 100% true? Nobody can debate it. No. So create factual words and statements based on what you're feeling or what you experience instead of overemphasizing them and making them worse than they actually are. Right? Like, not every single person, not every man in this world is toxic because you have one toxic relationship. Right? And you don't always mess up. In fact, you probably do most things right. Every once in a while, you might slip up and do something incorrectly, but you're focusing on the negative and not focusing on the positives and all the times you do get things right. So eliminate those absolute words unless they're working for your benefit, not breaking you down. Right. So number five is actually as just basically an example. I was talking with a client, and I started to notice like some negative wording, some limiting wording, and it was kind of like I was just kind of still letting him talk, and he got to the point where he said, you know, he's like, all Bulgarians are cheap bastards, and I honestly I couldn't help it, but I started laughing, and he's like, why are you laughing? And I said, because think of that statement. I was like, is it true that every single Bulgarian is cheap and are bastards? He's like, I don't know. I was like, aren't you Bulgarian? He said, yeah, but I just know how they are. Well, are you cheap and are you a bastard? He's like, oh no, not really. So is your previous statement true? And he said, no. I said, so to be honest, I've been noticing that a lot of your words. Have you noticed that they've been positive or negative? Oh, I noticed that I have been pretty negative lately. Really? How can you reframe that to be positive? Right? So it's like you're working through. Some people don't even recognize their patterns, but when somebody kind of calls you out for it, when you have a coach, it's like, hey, listen, like a lot of your statements have been negative. Then you're like, holy shit, like, I didn't even recognize that. You know why? Because once you start going down this like negative route, it's like a route that you can't stop. It's just like boom, 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 boom. And because when you have negative thoughts about yourself, then you have negative thoughts about other people, and it's just this negative feedback loop. Now, once he was able to notice that and be like, holy shit, you're right. I remember seeing him like 5 days later, and he was a completely different person. Completely different person. Like, I remember I was like, wow, like, you must be having a good day. He's like, yeah, you know what? Like, I decided to talk more positive about people and myself, and I'm having a great day. I was like, that's awesome. Honestly, he was so positive. He was more positive than me on that day. So I was like, kudos to you, brother. You took the advice and you went with it. And sometimes that's all we need is somebody to just call us out on our bullshit. Because usually, when you're negative, you're talking negative about yourself, you attract other people who are the exact same way. So they're not going to call you out because they're doing the same shit. They're talking crap about people. They're gossiping, right? They're talking bad about themselves. So like you are what you attract. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So once you start changing your wording, other people that are in that negative feedback loop will almost be like nails on the chalkboard for you. And it won't be like something like, hey, yeah, let's talk shit about each other. Let's talk shit about each other and about ourselves with each other. No thanks. Anyway, so I challenge you for the next 7 days. And thanks for reaching out, Mika. I feel you. For the next 7 days, to catch yourself, if you're saying any negative things, if you're saying any limiting statements, to be like, is this really true? Can I can I really not do this? Is it always I can't? Am I really an unlucky person? Is every single man in this earth toxic? Like, think about your statement. Is it true and is it factual? No. Yes. Okay. Is it positive? No. Okay. How can I reframe this so that it is positive? Maybe put my struggle in the past and move forward, right? And try to reframe those things. And why are you doing all this work? Because I have been a false confident person, and I have been an authentic confident person, and is a huge difference. I used to have super hardcore negative self talk on myself, and it sucked. It would very much suck. I looked for confidence in absolutely everything but myself. But when you have authentic confidence, you are creating it from the inside out. And I'm just gonna say one tip is to catch yourself, reframe, use your affirmations, and every single day look at yourself and say positive shit. And I'm positive shit, positive things, and you will change your life indefinitely, guaranteed. By the end of the 7 days, shoot me over a message. Let me know how it's been because I know it's going to be life changing. Thank you guys so much for being here. If any questions, comments, concerns, write them down below. And let's get rid of our vocabulary being sucky because you're fucking awesome. And I want to tell you that. And you deserve it. Have a beautiful night.